Senate Bill 780 has as its purpose providing relief for people who refinance loans. Several years ago, the General Assembly made the decision that if you refinance with the same lender, you do not have to pay additional recording taxes on the amount that's being refinanced as long as it's no more than the amount that you owe. Mr. President, back in the days when our lending took place, we would go to a lender for financing of a purchase. We would make our payments to that lender. What has happened, that policy has changed. That policy has changed, and here's what happens. When we purchase and borrow for a home, that account gets factored or sold to someone else. And it may be sold 3 or 4 times, and it may be difficult, if not impossible, for the borrower who refinances to prove to the satisfaction of the clerk when recordation takes place that the refinancing is taking place with the same lender. Mr. President, the reality is that today there are probably some who qualify for this not having to pay the refinancing recordation fees, but they don't know it. And likewise, Mr. President, there are many who, because of the uncertainty, represent at the recordation of the refinancing to the clerk that it's with the same lender. And the clerk of circuit court staff is placed in a very difficult situation. We heard testimony from circuit court clerks that indicate that there's no way that they can really argue with the representation that the financing is taking place with the same lender, because they don't have access to who owns the account, just as the borrower no longer knows who they are making their payments to, who owns the account. Mr. President, this eliminates that uncertainty. It has the additional benefit, Mr. President, of providing a little additional stability in a real estate market that is presently and continues to be very troubled. Mr. President, I hope it will be the pleasure of the General Assembly to pass the Senate to pass Senate Bill 780. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I would ask if the Senator from Henry would resume the floor for purpose of the question.
Will the Senator from Henry County yield for a question?
I yield, Mr. President.
Senator yields. Senator from
Thank you,
Augusta,
Mr. President.
Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I would ask the Senator if this bill was passed by yesterday with the indication that perhaps Senate Finance staff would take a look at the fiscal impact of this bill, and I would ask the Senator if that had been done, if he has any information to share on that.
Senator from Henry County, Senator Reynolds.
Mr. President, number one, I would tell the gentleman that I do not know whether it was been done, has been done. The representation was made to me that it would be done. If it has been done, Mr. President, I would say to the gentleman, I don't know what the results are, but I would say to the gentleman, in addition to that, is I think the true results are impossible to tell. And I think the reason it's impossible to tell is that we understand now that there are out-of-state lenders who are refinancing and representing to circuit court clerks that they are the same creditor is involved, and it may very well be that that's not the case, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator from Augusta.
Mr. President, I thank the Senator, but I'd like to speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would begin by saying that I certainly feel very uncomfortable in potentially opposing a bill patroned by the Senator from Henry County, but my concern is not to what he's trying to accomplish, because I think that is a good thing, Mr. President. My concern is the unintended consequence of the fiscal impact, and that's what I wasn't clear on, because as I read the bill, and my reason for voting against it in committee is that the current system, if you refinance with the same bank, it's clear there are no recordation taxes due. But if you do, in fact, negotiate a new loan with another lender, which is very common practice, particularly as we've gone through a period where the interest rates have come down, and it's been to the advantage of homeowners to renegotiate their loans. There is always a recordation tax that is due and payable, which has two components, a state component and a local component. It's been indicated to me that just in Fairfax County alone, based on this change in policy, as current practice, when you decide whether or not you're going to refinance, you have to take into consideration the fact that you're going to have to pay a recordation tax as a part of the package. So you make that decision conscious of the fact that you're going to be paying a recordation tax, but you will save money over the long term because of the reduced rate with the new loan. In Fairfax County, it's been indicated to me, just in Fairfax County, that this would cost about $20 million in lost revenue. Now, I'm fine with the policy. The problem that I have is in making up the revenue. This potentially, and I say potentially because I'm not sure what the senator from the chair of the Finance Committee, the senator from Prince William, was able to discover, if anything. But I'm concerned that potentially we're going to be cutting state and local coffers to the tune of $80 to $100 million per year based on our experience in refinancing and what this bill actually does. And I know that's not the senator from Henry's intention. His intention is an equitable situation for those seeking refinancing, but that's why I have to oppose this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Senator from Suffolk, Senator Quayle.
Mr. President, as you can see on the calendar, I supported this bill in the Finance Committee, and I supported it for all the good reasons that the senator had, the patron of the bill had made in his remarks. Since that time, though, I have received similar information from many of my localities. The senator from Augusta has spoken of them more eloquently than I am, but I feel like this is not the time to diminish the funding that we provide to our localities. This, perhaps a year or two from now, when our economy is thriving a little bit more, that we could take this up again, because I think it is a good idea. But today I don't believe is the proper time, and I do intend to vote against the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from Prince William, Senator Colgan.
Mr. President, speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I checked with our Senate Finance Committee staff, and they have no additional information on the fiscal impact on the bill. They asked the tax department for it, and they've been unable to get anything additional. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Senator from Henry County, Senator Reynolds.
If no one else wishes to speak, let me read to you the information that's been prepared with regards to the financial impact from the Department of Taxation. The clerks explained that this provision is difficult to administer. The clerks often are unable to determine who is the current note holder because Virginia law does not require that an assignment of the note be recorded. Often the homeowner does not know who the note holder is. He only knows who is servicing the loan. Reviewing the payoff statement for the loan being refinanced often shows only the servicer, not the note holder. Recent financial upheaval in the banking industry has led to consolidations and mergers. Thus, Mr. President, I would renew my explanation that there are probably many Virginian taxpayers who qualify for this exemption and are not aware of it. But more concern is that there are many from outside Virginia who take advantage of this exclusion by misrepresenting the fact that the financing is taking place with the same note holder. For that reason, I renew my motion that the measure pass. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 22, noes 18.
Ayes 22, noes 18. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1108, a bill to amend and reenact 3.2-5130 of the Code of Virginia relating to inspections by the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services of private home processing of honey. There is a floor amendment.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, having voted on the prevailing side whereby Senate Bill 1108 was engrossed and advanced to its third reading, I would ask that we reconsider that vote.
The question is, shall the Senate reconsider the vote by which it agreed to engross and advance Senate Bill 1108 to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.